Yeah, what's going on? Man, oh man. I tell you, I've been laying low, but I have been going on Tyron's channel. I linked that thing on my channel. So you should check that out. Also, main thing is I've been listening to different YouTubers. Haven't really been saying much because they talk the same shit. Whether it's Dr. Mayat, Professor Griff, Tariq Nasheed, and Sir Seti, and people like them. One thing I've noticed, aside from the usual rhetoric, I noticed that there's certain rhetoric that they can't discuss, and certain rhetoric that they must continue to bring up. Of course, when it comes to stuff that they can't discuss, Farrakhan, they can't go against him. Even though these people are not in the Nation of Islam, but somehow they follow Farrakhan somehow. You know what that's all about. You know it ain't got nothing to do with no Nation of Islam. Hold on a second. You know it ain't got nothing to do with no Nation of Islam. And they all have assumed names too, by the way. They can't go against the small hats. We know how Tariq Nasheed is when the subject of the small hats come up. That's why people keep calling them and they keep pressing them on that shit. And I got news for you, like I've been telling you before. If you know how to spot them when you listen to them, most of those white people that call up are small hats. And it's all scripted. I was just listening to one today. I forgot the name of the video. But a black guy came up. You may have listened to it. He said, I got my, he was clearly trying to promote his business. He said, my website or something got shut down, so this is the new one. Then he started talking about his business and what we offer. And then Tariq cut him off. See, Tariq's new technique is, thank you, brother. Thank you. Very informative. Then he moves on to the next. Before he used to say, man, you're babbling. You ain't got nothing to talk about. All that kind of shit because he knew it was fucking rude and disrespectful because he didn't do that to white people. Then a white man comes on after that guy. You talk about babbling. That motherfucker was babbling about nothing. Talking slow, you don't understand what his point was. And then after 5 minutes, he started getting with insults. So that's how you could tell the shit is scripted and he's waiting for these people to come on because why else would he let them on for so long, knowing that they're doing the same thing that the black people are doing, talking about nothing. But mainly the black people talking about something. It's just that Tariq is not interested in it. And Tariq also, you could tell he's listening because he said something that I said I don't know how many videos ago, where I said if the man was serious about what he's talking about, what he's doing, he wouldn't even bother having white people on. He wouldn't bother having those pesky British people on, Australians. What the fuck are they doing? Calling him, and except maybe because it's a time situation. But I think on that same video, Asian lady from Australia said, I just happened to stumble across your live. I'm like, man, how are these people just stumbling across his live? You know that's bullshit. Why would they be interested in him at all? Because it's all bullshit. That's why he lets them speak. Because it's all part of the act. That's why he doesn't want to hear real shit from black people. And he has his resident comedians, I guess, that he's promoting. He has them come up there, that guy, that country dude. He's always talking this shit. He gives him time to talk this shit. That Macau guy with his annoying routine, and some other people. Then you got somebody called Nikki the God. Now I was thinking about that name. I was like, hold up. How come a woman, presumed woman, is calling herself a god instead of a goddess? And I said, oh, she must be another weirdo too. And that T.S. Giselle hasn't been on since he pronounced himself queen of the FBA. They had to take all that controversy for Tariq Nasheed to say, I can't put you back on, but he'll be back on after a while, I'm sure. So they can't question the small hats. You can't question Donald Trump because these people are on the take. And he acts like people can't see his desperation and cowardice when as soon as somebody says anything negative about Donald Trump. I could tell they're paid by the same people because they pay, the people on the conservative radio, but I'm sure a whole lot less, of course, because they use the exact same tactics. And Tariq Nasheed's spaces are going from a pseudo black space, even before he had the spaces. His little shows went from pseudo black to now is basically fucking conservative Fox News type shit. Always talking politics and shit. Nobody want to keep hearing that shit. Once the fucking election's over, that's that. Let that be the end of the shit. Get back to what matters most to black people. Now, this shit is a good comedy show. That's about it. But he's been repeating a lot of his jokes. Because I guess he's forgetting a lot of them. So, no Trump. Those are the ones for hire. No small hats, which tells you their limitations, which also tells you who their bosses are. No Farrakhan. You can't go against Farrakhan. So that tells you what their affiliations are as well. And it's not Nation of Islam. Of course, Farrakhan is a master mason. And anybody, so that's another thing I look forward to checking out. Whether they're in a opposing Nation of Islam or not, I like to listen to see who mentions Farrakhan and Freemasonry. Now, there are people who mention Elijah and Freemasonry, but that's only because Elijah said so. He was a Mason. That's why. But these people can't go against that. Then people like Tariq Nasheed, Seti, Umar, Ma'at, what do they do when they speak to us? It's always a steady case of paranoia. What do I mean by that? I mean, they want to get you scared. Tariq Nasheed's always like, oh man, you see this thing happen? Man, it seems like there's something behind this. Especially look like when talking about the Angie Stone. That's how you could tell when these agents are ordered to discuss what they discuss. Because Angie Stone wasn't really in the spotlight like that. I didn't know she even had a channel on her own. Then the death, soon as it happens, they all come up with conspiracy. It's conspiracy. But yet, when we talk JFK, 9/11, Trump didn't get shot, conspiracy where we could prove this shit. Nah, man, these people, why always gotta be some spooky shit? That's when you know the bullshit is on. I'm not saying Angie Stone is or is not dead. All I know, you watch YouTube, you watch news stories, news shows about people being dead. They show you the dead bodies. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, if she did get killed, if she did die in it, then all I can say is, listen, somebody's coming. All I can say is this. It's weird how she died in the accident and she was in the van with the rest of the people. That seems kind of weird. But only way that could probably happen if she didn't have a seatbelt on. But I also find that pretty odd at the same time, you know? Stuff like that is strange. Because if somebody's here, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Because more than one person should have died, or all of them should have died, or most of them should have died, or none of them should have died. But, you know, then, you know, she has her affiliations and all that kind of stuff, as is typical. You know, when this type of thing happens, you know, they're all over the place. Who else died? Roberta Flack died. No conspiracies with that. And, you know, these black YouTubers, they weren't really talking about her at all. And she was a more legendary artist than Angie Stone was. Now, Angie Stone's main claim to fame, even though it's quiet, was her hip-hop pioneering thing, which I knew way before this happened. But she didn't really get credit for that because the lady who ran, Sylvia Robinson, she was a crook, Caribbean crook. But, you know, all of them talked about it. Surah Sutanseti, everybody you could think of. Conspiracy. They jumped to conspiracy as soon as it happened. And then they show you a video, she's like, oh, somebody ripped me off. Well, what's new? People getting ripped off in the music biz all the damn time. That's the story of the biz, because they want to own the created artwork, but they don't want you to get paid, and they don't want you to own the shit. And then they start bringing up all these conspiracies, and they still want to talk about the Sam Cooke thing being a conspiracy. And Tariq Nasheed wanted to talk about Clive Davis. For some odd reason, he omitted Janis Joplin. I mean, it's no secret that the music biz, I made videos on this years ago, that they know most people are broke. They want fame and fortune. The small hats got the fame with their media apparatus. And of course, they got the fortune with their banks. So what they do is they give you money. This guy's taking his time getting out of here, so I'm just waiting. So people like looking. So they give you money, right? I'm trying not to repeat the videos I made. You can look at it in the past. I might post up the full video, but they give you money, pick you up in limos, buy you some clothes, get your teeth fixed, get your hair done, and of course invite you to parties. And you know, they have cocaine and heroin and weed all around, drinks. They may not force it on you at first, but they'll just see how you react in the party, see what you try out. Try something out, they know what's up. So, then they know what you're all about, then they know how to control you. It's just like a pimp controlling hoes with drugs. That's why you find that all hookers are fucking drug addicts of some kind. That's why they're reduced to doing that shit. And they'll lie to you and try to say, I'm going to college and all that kind of shit. I'm doing it for college money. Believe me, I met strippers talking about, yeah, I'm doing this for college, getting up college. I'm like, man, there's a lot of other ways you can get up some college money now. But you don't have to be go stripping. So I said, I already know that's a lie up front because you don't need to be doing that kind of shit. And I knew something. She was living with this girl. I think I told this story before. I was like, damn, the girl was looking good too. The white girl she was living with, she's alright. The other girl, she was looking good. At the time, I didn't get it because I was like, this gay shit, I was like, I don't know about. I didn't think that shit was real. I thought they were just roommates to save money since she said she was doing it for college. So, call me naive. I don't know. But anyway, my main thing, I was trying to suck on those titties. She had her some nice titties and a nice face. I think she was half white, half black. Yeah, for all I know, that white girl could have been her sister. But anyway, that's what the music biz does. It's always about your money. That's why they always cheat artists. I was even listening to an interview from a few years ago from Daryl Hall. He was saying he got to keep going on the road because he didn't get all the money that he could have or should have gotten from the record labels. Now record labels are doing things where you sell out your whole catalog and name and identity back to them for a few $100 million, depending on who you are and how large you were. That's their new thing because they're not selling anything, so they want to keep everything because the label is nothing without the music. Whether it's new shit being released or shit that was already released. Because I looked up Capitol Records, and the reason why I did that is because I was playing the Grand Theft Auto. And then, you see the Capitol Records building. So I said, you know what, let me see what that looks like in real life, or the surrounding area anyway. And I noticed that the surrounding area is not quite like the game. It's a lot more expansive. So then I said, you know what, let me see if Capitol Records is still in business. I looked up a couple of other labels too. I looked up the latest artist roster. I'm like, man, I don't know who the fuck these people are. One of them looked like a fucking tranny. I have no idea who these people are. You look at most labels today, they got a roster that suggests to me that they're really out of business, but they're trying to act like they're still in business. That's what the rosters say to me. I think there was about 8 people signed to the damn label. I said, man, this is crazy, but this is the way that the music biz is. It's really done. The fuck is being nosy? So it's really a done situation. But that's the way it is. They're trying to hold on. I think there is no recovery to the music biz. So they get you on drugs if they don't beat you out of money. Because I was listening to this British guy. He got a channel. I forgot his name, but he was talking about damn, what the hell is his name? Gene Griffin or Griffith. Gene Griffin of the guy who put out Guy. Another guy from the South coming up and being a gangster in New York. And how Teddy Riley got ripped the fuck off. How that motherfucker, all that shit he did, he signed over his publishing to Gene Griffin. I guess because he was scared. And that's why the other member of Guy that was on that first album, he got kicked out the group. And apparently, the way he told it, he said the songs, the concept, the group was his. But he got kicked out the group because he wouldn't sign the bogus contract that would have made him give up all his publishing rights from that point on into the future, forever. And Teddy Riley did. And they say because he was scared. You know, Teddy Riley is a little guy, so, you know. They said he was scared, and then they said that Teddy Riley was thinking about getting Alpo to get hit Gene Griffin. Now, Alpo may have been a pretty good street drug dealer, making good money and quick to kill. But that Gene Griffin and guys like him, those are old school gangsters that know how to do it. You don't want to fuck with those types. For all we know, those guys could have been pushing the weight for them. For all we know. Bottom line is Teddy Riley fucked himself out of money. That's why I think they said he's only worth about $3 million. Which is crazy. And that's why he eventually was beating some of the guys in Black Street and other productions. I guess that's the same thing with Raphael Sadiq. He got beat. Then he was beating the members of Lucy Pearl. Because I guess when they get beat, they got to recruit and get some kind of money out of the shit that they thought they were getting before. But see, that's how it is. People want to get in the biz. They're so excited. Oh, I got somebody right in front of me that's about to put me out. Then they think, I just signed a damn contract. I can get out, get put on, put a few dollars in my pocket right now. They're never thinking about the long term. Ignorance is what happens. But anyway, that's a routine. Jewish artists claim that they got beat too, like Billy Joel, Bob Dylan, but I never saw them broke. That's for damn sure. So Billy Joel is always playing his concert series at one of the stadiums in New York, MetLife or Yankee Stadium. And I guess most recently he was at that, I don't know if you can hear me because I got my thing down, but most recently he was at Mohegan Sun and Fell. So he can get these big concerts a year here to every year or something, so he's still getting paid. I never heard of him not having any money. I mean, you check Billy Joel's lineage. He comes from a line of rich small hats. Very rich. I mean, shit, they all come from some rich small hat line. And his father looked just like him, or grandfather. Got that, what I call African Negro facial features, round head, round nose, wide eyes. You can't tell me that shit ain't in them. But anyway, get back to the main point, which is, this is part of the point, but that's what these YouTube personalities, these agents, and Sir Rasutin said he's really into Harkabe too. And I could tell when they've been listening to me because they'll say some things that only I said, and like I said, they only say it after I said it. So if you've been paying attention, you know, paying attention to me and them, then you'll know when you hear it. Just like when Tariq Nasheed said, I'm tired of dealing with these white supremacists and these other tethers discussing our reparations because they don't have any skin in the game. So why are we dealing with them? Now, who the fuck said that? On one of these Tariq videos I made, I said, I don't know why he deals with them to begin with, because they're not in this fucking country, number one. And if they were, it still doesn't concern them. Those British people, those black British, they're fucking annoying. I'll tell you, they're fucking annoying. They're halfway across the world, but they're always in our business. And then if they're Jamaican, they always try to say, well, my people are Jamaican, so we got something in common. We don't have nothing in common. There's no need for him to be discussing shit with them. That's why I'm like, why when somebody white comes up, why are you answering questions about the logistics of the shit? Or any part of it. Doesn't matter. Black, British, it doesn't matter. Australian, it doesn't matter. African, it doesn't matter. If they want to be curious, let them watch a pre-recorded video. There's no need to explain anything to him. But that's how you can tell he's been listening. But the other thing that these guys do is that, and I noticed this with SETI, and of course with the Andy Stone thing, and with the so-called Dr. Ma'at and others, they gotta always have fear, get you paranoid. I'm like, do they think that this is how black people operate? Who's been studying us to think that? I guess it's the religious thing, the church thing, so they think black people fear something, fear a higher power or invisible force, you know? So, like I always used to say, once they see that you believe in a religion, they figure they got you. They can manipulate your mind some way, somehow. That's why when you hear people like Tariq Bey speak to people and others, one of the first questions they ask is, who are you? Are you part of the Moors, Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelites, Christian, Muslim? What are you? I always say to you, never answer that question. That's what I say. Number one, I almost drank this whole fucking bottle. This is a what? Fucking 1 liter. God damn. Don't answer it, because that's a way that they want to determine how to manipulate you. And if they figure you're Muslim, then they're going to try and talk in a way to make you think that they're one with Allah or some shit like that, so that you'll say, yeah, I agree with you, brother, and all that kind of shit. The bottom line is they just want to manipulate you. That's the bottom line. And know how to deal with you. See, they don't like dealing with me because they don't know where I'm coming from. The only thing that they think or know or assume is that I'm coming on to bust their shit. That is the byproduct of my simply asking questions to get clarification. That's all I'm really trying to do, is ask questions to gain clarification. If the clarification results in you being full of shit, then that's just the way it ends up. I mean, what can I do about that? So they like keeping you paranoid. And the main thing they like doing, no matter the subject matter, and the weird part is, when it crosses over to their master, Donald Trump, they got to play it carefully, because they're still talking about white supremacy, white racism. But they they will not relay that same white supremacy onto the Jews. At best, people like Tariq Nasheed are authorized to just call it all white supremacy. But that's still not saying anything. See, people like me, I specify the issue. The reason why I do that is because for years, I grew up with black people always asking, man, what is the problem? What is going on? Why are they holding us back? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Once you pinpoint who is in control, which are the small hats, then you can better understand the why. So if you just say white supremacy, you're not really pinpointing who's in control and who's orchestrating the plan. You're just still really sticking with some spooky shit, truth be told. And that's the way their small hat masters want them to be. Keep talking about the spooky shit. Keep talking about a generic white man. White hillbillies. White people of the South. That's what they want you to keep on talking about. But quiet as it's kept, a lot of small hats are in the South. I was just looking up, I don't know why this popped into my head. Maybe because I heard the shit it came on the radio somewhere. Pat Benatar. And I used to always say to myself, man, that was a strange name, Benatar. I said, was she from the Caucasus or some shit? And I said, I said, let me look this lady up. I was thinking to myself, if she's not from the Caucasus, I know what she got to be. And her real name ain't nothing close to no goddamn Benatar. I think her name was Pat May Androzowski or some shit like that. I said, man, god damn. And yes, she's a small hat. Jon Stewart. They were talking about him cutting his hand. I already knew he was a small hat because I looked him up years ago. And I left a comment on Entertainment Tonight YouTube. And somebody said, well, he already explained why he changed his name. I said, well, how come all the other ones changed their names too? We know what the shit is all about. So at the minimum, I would say that the small hats are paying Negroes to fulfill their agenda while acting like it's a long-term agenda that's good for us. And I'll tell you this. I'm going to see if no moves are made in this Trump administration, because he's making a lot of moves as if he's going to reign again. When this is it for Trump. So we'll see what happens in the future concerning us. But these pro-black supremacist type guys, they all defend Trump. They can't go against the small hat because of people like me who put pressure on these people, calling them out, blowing their cover. And I got to call out Siraj Sutanseti. And I've been putting some comments in places to make him respond, because he always says, I want all the smoke. But that's another trait of these people. They want all the smoke, but it has to be in a tightly controlled environment. So Siraj Sutanseti, he does his routine of, you have to keep coming up with different YouTube accounts to make a comment, and you must agree with them. I hate those kind of YouTubers where you must agree with the people or you get deleted and blocked. That's the same thing with Tariq Bay. Of course, it's the same thing with Tariq Nasheed. Same thing with same thing with all of them. You must agree with them. That's why people like me, we gotta keep coming up with different accounts just to comment. We can't voice our own opinion because they're spreading propaganda. So they don't want to hear other opinions, and they damn sure don't want to hear opinions that show that they are full of shit. So Siraj Sutanseti, what he'll do is he'll say, I want all the smoke, but only in a chat room, of course. And then his mods will delete the person. Then he's like, oh, let him stay here. Oh man, I wanted to deal with him. You know that was a lie. If you really wanted to deal with him, you take away all your moderators if you really want to deal with somebody. If you really want to deal with somebody, you get on StreamYard Live and get with it. See, that's how I judge people. I don't care how many YouTube videos you make. I don't even give a damn how many lectures you go on. What can you handle when the people come live and direct for you? I keep telling you that's what Tariq's spaces are all about. That's his training camp. Because they know he's unpolished. See, he's still at the stage where if he doesn't want the information out, he has to disguise it with a joke. He has to overtalk people. So if you notice me, when I engage people, I don't overtalk people. I might joke, but I don't joke taking away from the point that they're trying to make or the point that I'm trying to make. And I don't joke about the serious shit and then talk about the bullshit. I let people get their shit out because, like I always say, I already know where I'm going if what you're saying is built on a lie. So I already know what the result is going to be. And all the shit in between is going to be about the person trying their best to keep thinking that they're going to lie to me and I'm going to fall for their lies. That's what Tariq Nasheed tries to do, but he can't even do what a lot of these other people that you've heard do and come up with some good bullshit that sounds like you're actually answering the question. Instead, he'll just say you're babbling, or he'll tell a joke, or you're a musty tether, you're lying, you're telling lies. That's the classic deflection of people who lie nonstop. Oh, you're a liar. You're lying. The other one is, are you calling me a liar? That's when people can't even make up any good bullshit. Another one is, I would never lie. I would never do such a thing. All that kind of shit. And then they show a range of emotions. A lot of the range is usually anger, because they're like, damn, I can't trick the person. So that's why I know I frustrate the hell out of people when their tricks don't work. So that's what he does. It's a training. It's training for, they're trying to put him on something bigger, a bigger platform. They tried the MSNBCs. That didn't work. He tried other outlets. That didn't work because he's not sharp. He's a dorky would-be comedian. So they're trying to position the guy because, people like Judge Joe Brown, he took the place of Dick Gregory. And, looking at Judge Joe Brown, he doesn't look like he's going to be around for too much longer, And I don't know what his affiliation with that Dana is, but I don't know if they're related or what, but shit. Times. But she seems to have top priority on him. So that's what they do. They always talk about white. That's the topic they can't let go of. White supremacy. White racism. Because I was listening to Umar today when he was talking about, he had the Philly hat on, and I think he had a Tommy jacket on. For a guy who tells you don't worry about sports, when Philly wins, boy, he sure wants to put on Philly gear. It's always back to the spooky boogeyman shit. The white man is coming to get you. But what are these people doing? And he's talking about money. If we had money, we could be doing this, we could be doing that. Of course. We know that. You claim to have money, you're not doing nothing. Worrying about that bullshit school. So people like him, it's the spooky shit. Stay away from white women. These snow bunnies and all that shit. Then he's taking a picture with a snow bunny. When you're always talking about some shit, that means that's what you want. If you're not doing it. Just like Tariq always bringing up Bussy. That's another one of his diversions. People be talking about some serious shit. He's talking about just like you did something with your Bussy, or you're sucking people off and all that kind of. I'm like, man, why is this guy always bringing up some gay shit all the time? And then he's always in Atlanta. And he turned T.S. Giselle off. Now, he can't come back yet. But when he always had to have him on. I noticed when T.S. Giselle, I don't know if he's banned or not, but he couldn't come on. And then that's when Marcel came back. So I find that to be curious. So that's what they all fall back on. The white man is coming to get you. Because the white man is coming to get you, give me money. I'll take care of the white man for you. We know that's bullshit. And Sir Seti, he's been preaching masonry. I knew that from the get-go. And he's indoctrinating people into it. Now, this is what I say about masonry. And because they got these agents that, excuse me, damn. They got these black agents that's been preaching this shit from I don't know how long, since definitely since YouTube began. Then you got the other agents that's been on public access and other outlets. That's why they always celebrate the Delbert Blairs and Phil Valentines and all those guys, because that's what they're all about, preaching that masonry bullshit. Why did they focus on us? Who knows? To me, they're like harassing us with the shit, to me. But what is the end goal for it? When will the goals finally be met? And if they're not going to be met, what is the goal? I mean, when is the shit going to stop and you just come out and just say, this is what it is? That's what I want to know. Why would you join if you don't know what the goal is? Like I said, somebody had approached me, and I was intrigued by. I asked a few questions. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions too many, and they couldn't answer the questions. Mainly, like, what is the goal? And all I kept hearing was brotherhood. That's one of those generic Tariq Nasheed responses. I don't want to hear that. I mean, you don't have to tell me, the innermost detail, but just tell me. It's like when you go for a job or something, or something, you can ask them, listen, what is the goal? Or they'll ask you what your goal is, and you'll tell them what your goal is. You ain't gonna say, well, to get a job. They'll say, oh, you can get a job someplace else. Now you ask them what their goal is with their business. They might give you a detailed answer. We want to take over this sector of the business and have everyone coming to us and all such and such and so forth. Whether you like the goal or not, at least it's an answer where you could say, okay, I understand what needs to be done. See, with the masonry, I'm not sure what it needs to be done. Funny part is my mother and father were involved in that shit. Low level though. Low level. I don't know if they're trying to indoctrinate me by always having me come in. But I'm one of those people, if you don't make the shit plain to me, I don't like being tricked into shit. I don't like being eased into shit. I need to know what the shit is. Let me know what it is. So with Sir Rasut and Seti, he keeps going back to Egyptian shit, mystical shit. And this is the same guy who used to say, I don't like dealing with mystical, magical stuff. But then he's always talking about the hair being coiled, being the antenna. We could look deep into the souls and all that kind of shit. All that spooky shit that you cannot make real. There was like hair being an antenna. I'm like, why say that? So what happens when you cut your hair? And only our hair is an antenna, huh? Because it's coiled. Some other idiot says something about, our hair is coiled, so it turns into an inductor to pick up antenna signals, even though that's not the work of an inductor, but that's the example he used. Because that's coiled. But that's an inductor is not a fucking antenna. So that's how you know he's lying right there, because he used that fucking example. And if you know who I'm talking about, I think if you come across that guy, it's an actual African guy coming with that spooky Pan-African Freemason madness. But I don't think he's affiliated with any of these people or is real with the shit. I think he's just strictly trying to get paid. Because he's like Tariq, not selling nothing but product. Gives you the sermon. If you like the sermon, you pay. If you don't, you don't. And they want you to be hopeful. They want you to be spiritual. Because when you're spiritual, you give away that money. And they want you to think that they're the ones going out being a champion for you. They're not going around doing shit. Tariq Nasheed does nothing. He's not in the streets. He's not trying to go there. Damn, this guy almost hit this lady. Motherfuckers driving a parking garage like this and speeding and shit, knowing people gotta get in and come out. They're not watching for nobody. I remember one time some motherfucker almost hit me head on. Like, you can't be that fucking stupid. You know you got in this place the same way and you're going out the same way. So what the fuck you think there's not gonna be other cars coming too? I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, this is what they want to do. Coiled hair is not a fucking antenna. I don't know who came up with that shit and why they do it, but see, they know when people, dimwits, repeat it, the shit is effective. You know what I mean? If it's an antenna, where is the signal coming from? You should know that if you know that the hair is a fucking antenna. You can't tell me no, and I don't want to hear no. It gives us our creativity, our soul, that special something that we have that others don't have. Matter of fact, that's what Umar was saying too. Some shit like that. Give us money, we'll do things that other people can't do. We're special. I was like, well, I mean, if that's the case, how come we're in the bottom then? Shit, you ain't doing nothing special. But I hate this shit. I mean, that's the spooky shit that people like me, I don't like arguing shit like that. I don't like debating shit like that. I just like to flat out say, if that's what you believe, give us a demonstration, show and prove. If all you do is give me babble and excuses, that means you're full of shit, even though we know you're full of shit to begin with just by saying something like that. But, the astral projection, all that kind of shit that you see on that Brother Rich's channel, he looks like a goddamn Caribbean. All that madness. Can't stand that shit because it's just fucking waste of time. And that's another thing that Tariq Nasheed got from me, calling shit like that a waste of time. And he started saying it only after I said it. It amazes me how people could just pick apart people's shit, take from this person, take from that person, take from this person, put the shit together. They get paid and they act like they're the genius, and then it's the other people putting this shit out here. That's why, I tell you, that's another reason why I just don't make that many of these videos anymore, man. Because you get tired of being suppressed while the agents get promoted and get paid on top of that. I wasn't even about getting paid, but then I'm like, damn, I'm looking around at everybody. Everybody's getting paid. Some people taking my shit and getting paid. I'm like, man, damn. The fuck? I keep giving these motherfuckers material. And I ain't got nothing to say about that. But I'm just tired of these people with all this bullshit. And Sarai Seti, he went from being a so-called teacher to just being a entertaining YouTuber. We know it's for the money. And again, these people are monetized. I'm not. That should tell you all that you need to know. It's not that I'm not, it's I can't be. Because my shit is offensive to advertisers, but Tariq Nasheed, even if he blocks out curse words, but he's constantly insulting people, calling them musty, tethers, broke. He insults the black people, but the white people walk around unscathed. He has no words for them. It's crazy. You know what? I just something just popped into my head. I went to the store yesterday, a BJ's Club, and this guy was looking for eggs and shit. He's like, God damn, $29. So they had Eggland's Best 2 dozen for $8.99. I said, get that. I noticed they took the price off the shit. I guess to prevent people from buying too many or buying them out. Yeah, $8.99 for 2 dozen. That's bad, but given the grand scheme of things, that ain't too bad. Especially when it's a name brand. But I noticed that BJ's also had one of my favorite cereals of all time, that Post Great Grains. I'm like, man, that was the first time I ever saw that at that place. So I said, let me get that. Made a bowl. I said, damn. This coincides with the egg price and shit, how they just keep doubling shit up. I'm like, doubling prices and shit and giving you less. So I poured a bowl. One thing I was always used to was they always had a lot of dates and raisins in the cereal and a lot of pecans. This time, I'm like, damn, it's hard to find a date, and damn sure harder to find a pecan. And then they put some other filler, look like some type of rice puff or some shit in there. I'm like, that shit wasn't in there before. I'm like, man, you see what I'm saying? They're cutting back on product and trying to charge you twice as much. This shit is fucking insane. What the fuck they doing? It's just fucking crazy. There was another product too. They twice. Oh yeah. I was looking for some briefs. I was used to going to stores and, you get 6. You might pay what? $7, $10. The boxer, not boxers, the briefs. Then I was looking at the price today. I'm like, God damn. They wanted fucking $20. I said, they got to be crazy. They got to be crazy. I said, this is insane. But anyway, these people, and the reason why I brought this up is because I noticed with Suraj Sutanseti and these other people that no matter what happens, they're hypocrites because they defend Trump. He can do no wrong. Suraj Sutanseti tries to defend Trump in his slick way, and he's a fucking Captain America for America too, by the way. Yeah, I've been putting those comments in there. That's me. He thinks he's being slick. When he used to have the series about, China, Russia, they can't fuck with the United States. I'd rather be on this side than on that side. All that kind of shit. Defends Trump. Now, I don't like Trump, but if he's doing that to them, that might work out better for us. So, all that kind of, they think, I hate when people think that they're so smart that everybody else is that dumb. And Tariq Nasheed is so fucking paranoid about saying the wrong thing about Trump that as soon as somebody says, people got to get creative, got to get slick when they call up. That's why most of them are kissing his ass. But you can tell the phony ones are the ones that kiss Tariq's ass and say, oh yeah, get that root work and get this other product. And Tariq is like, yes, thank you. And people leaving comments, yeah, Tariq, you're so great. You changed my life. All that, all that's bullshit. But as soon as they got to set it up that way sometimes, because that's how these fucking YouTubing agent egomaniacs work. You got to warm them up. Don't lay it on too thick, though. Nobody still addressed Tariq and asked why he had that little boy wearing that dress type shirt trying to sell that bullshit book. That's child abuse, man. Nobody brings that up but me. And people still want to act like they didn't see it. Anyway. Then once they start talking about Trump, well, I disagree with Trump on that. It could be just the smallest thing. something that's insignificant. And he's like, man, I don't want to hear this. You bullshit. Nah, get out of here. You babbling. Get out of here. You know, all that kind of shit. That goes to show that he must be paranoid and they must have him on a weekly payment plan. Because they got to do it like that. You know, that's what jobs are for, too. That's why they do it like that. Number one, to stretch out their money. Two, to make sure you show up and do your job. That's why they don't pay you whatever you're supposed to make a year. They don't pay you that shit all at once, up front. You make sure you show up. Because if they paid you up front and then you said, well, shit, I got all this money, I don't feel like showing up today. You're going to do that kind of shit. So Tariq getting paid, he's just like, fuck it. I'm going to make sure that I don't say the wrong thing and slip up. He'll try to get slick with the small hats sometimes because they authorize him to go a little above and beyond because they got to make it seem like it's real because people like me lay down rules and tell you if you can't go against the gays and the trannies, the Jews, Farrakhan, Masonry, we know what it's all about. So they give him a little leeway. But Trump, that money must be very good because he's like, ain't no way in hell I can't let you put Trump down. And then everything that goes bad, yeah, it's Democrats. Even if the topic ain't about politics, it's Democrats. You're a Democratic shill. And some people I seen on YouTube comments so stupid. They just repeat what he says and they said, oh, you're a Democratic shield. Because they don't even know the word he's using. I said, these people are fucking idiots. You make a comment on YouTube, first thing they do, you're a tether. Your lineage ain't one of us. I'm like, man, these people act like fucking psychopathic cult members. It's like Nation of Islam people. You know, all praises due to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't put down the teacher. Shut your mouth. All that kind of shit. You know, people see, it's like black people could be in unison when it comes to some wacky shit like that does not get anything done. But when it comes to some real shit, they don't want to do shit. So he'll defend Donald Trump until the payment plan runs out. Now that guy at Congress, that guy he reminds me of that forgot his name, but he reminded me of that preacher from Los Angeles that used to have the stick and say, you motherfuckers gotta get on this shit because John the Baptist said, man, you come this way, I'm gonna fuck y'all niggas up and all that kind of shit. You know, I forgot his name, the Reverend. You know who I'm talking about. That's another guy. See, he's called Black. I don't know why he had to make that disturbance. I don't know what purpose that had to serve. Get himself thrown out. But a lot of people wouldn't say that he was a black man. That's why I always ask what black is, because black could be one thing one day, another thing the next day. And before I let it go, Tariq Nasheed, I saw another video. I think it was the one he did last week or last Sunday when he was talking about the Oscars. It's a show I don't watch, but he had a black woman talking about how to make people pay to be with them. This is how you know he stole my style, because again, I always say this. How is it that you can delineate when you can't even identify visually who your people are not? So he showed the girl. All he was doing was talking about her mustache and all that kind of shit. And then he was like, I don't know if she's a FBA or not. And then when somebody else later on said she's Trini, then he's like, yeah, she's definitely not FBA. We knew that. I'm like, man, earlier, a minute ago, you just said you didn't know. You could tell from the look. So that's why you got to know what you're talking about. See, I know what I'm talking about. That's why I'm the one who put the shit forth. You have to be, if you can't identify, yeah, some people might slip through a little bit, but if you can't identify from the look, and that's another reason people have been asking me to put a video together about, I'm now starting to wonder if it was Tariq or his people under a different account saying, put a video together that shows how you can visually identify foreign blacks or blacks that are not black American from black Americans. And I was thinking about it. I was going to do that. I'm glad that I stalled, not on purpose, but things just happened to be that way. I'm glad I didn't get to do it because I'm sure he would have taken that shit too. So I said, man, fuck that. And then after seeing this video he put out, I'm like, damn, this man couldn't tell that the lady, you could tell her hair. That's number one. Because she looked black. Got the black features, but she got the smooth hair, shiny hair. Even though it looked a little bit, compromising. She didn't need a weave. She had big eyes. Her skin tone. Matter of fact, hell, I just told you right there how to work it out. So he should have known, but see, he's out in California, so he's not familiar with all these different Caribbeans. He's not familiar with them. Hell, matter of fact, on top of that, man, you see where Trinidad is located. I don't know why they call that shit the Caribbean, but that's what they call it. But sometimes you gotta break out actual maps. You'll see certain places. You're like, God damn. And Trump talking about Denmark in that speech last night, I'm like, if he gets Denmark, it must be some behind the scenes shit, because I don't think he's just gonna invade Denmark. I haven't looked up the NATO protocols, but they say that if a country invades a member state, then that's an attack on all. So they go after that country, mainly for Russia, but helps to get other countries scared who's thinking about taking down some white people, conquering some white countries. But I wonder what happens if a NATO member invades another NATO member. Who's right? Who's wrong? I don't know how he's going to take Greenland, but keep in mind, everything Trump is talking about is not coming from him. He sounds reckless when he speaks, but everything is planned by the you-know-whos. He makes English the official language. Notice how you haven't heard too much about ICE and more deportations he claims is going on, but I still see tons of Mexicans. I see tons of Mexican products. It's clear that they're promoting Mexicans. Trump's cabinet's filled with East Indians. The vice president's wife is an East Indian. Fuck, you gonna make an East Indian FBI director? Fuck kind of shit is that? People said that Trump put out more JFK files. Where are they at? And he's using Robert Kennedy Jr. That's why he called him Bobby Kennedy on purpose. Using him. It's fucking crazy. So I guess by using the son of an assassinated presidential candidate and the nephew of one assassinated president, and Trump acting like he wants to release all the files, it's supposed to act like there was no conspiracy to knock off the president and his brother. But see, the Negro that you see on YouTube, they'll tell you it could have been. Maybe they did. Maybe But they don't get deep into that. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Angie Stone. Because they figure niggas like music. That's why when you hear white people on these radio shows, on these sports shows, they always try to quote a rapper. Because they think that's what black people do and live by rappers all day. So they think, okay, well, I'm trying to act black. Like on these ESPN radio shows. I'm like, why are they playing rap music all the time and from the 90s, early 90s, sometimes the 80s, and they're acting like they grew up with that shit. They didn't grow up with that shit, but they want us to believe that they did. DJ Vlad, same thing. He's making money off the shit, but you know he didn't grow up with that shit. You could tell, number one, because people will talk a certain way. And because they're white, that's the bottom line. But they're small hats anyway. Shit is crazy. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing my thing. But this is what's happening out here. These people want to get you paranoid, want to keep you paranoid. That's why I say if we get reparations, these people are out of business, but they'll figure out some way to swing it and say, the white man didn't give us as much as we should get. You got niggas like Tariq Nasheed talking about 100,000 is a good start. When a few years ago, he said 500,000 was a good start. He didn't even call that a start. He said that was it. When you got white people calling up talking about that'll cost too much. See, he got all that shit for me when I said, who gives a fuck what you do with the reparations? Who gives a damn if you go buy a whole bunch of keys and snort the shit up? Who cares about that? Who cares how? So that's the thing. When you hear people, especially on his show, when people are talking about how's it going to be paid for, who gives a fuck? That's not your concern. You're not going to be allocating the funds. He keeps having some Mexican racist guy on there all the time. And he keeps calling people white Latino. Then he wants to call Saldana black Latina. See, he's not used to these different people because he's on the West Coast. He's mainly used to these Mexicans. And if you look closely at these Mexicans, they're not even the same people. I just went to a fucking Wendy's the other day. I've been complaining to Wendy's for the longest time. That's why I don't really go there like that. And that's another place where the food quality has suffered. But they've been getting the fries right lately. But she's going to start speaking to me in only Spanish. I'm like, she ain't even bothered to ask if I speak Spanish or not. I said, this shit is getting crazy. But all these fast food places. So that's the thing. That's how I know when ICE is affected. When you go to McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and you don't see any motherfucking Mexicans. I was looking at, just driving on the road, I see work vans. Santos, whatever the fuck it was. Plumbing or whatever the fuck it was. I wonder what Italians are going to do when they start moving in on their businesses like that. Trump's cabinet is East Indian and foreign. His wife is foreign. His previous wife was foreign. So don't believe it when he talks this American first shit. How come you didn't get an American wife? Huh? You know Tariq can never let anybody answer that fucking or ask that question. So who gives a fuck if he made English the first? That's all symbolic bullshit. And if you've ever been to New York City, you'll know that they got languages, literature put out by the state in Korean, Arabic, Spanish, French, all types of shit. You think that's going to stop? Keep in mind, Trump is from New York, so he knows. Come on. they got a love affair with these East Indians. Because I was just thinking about it when I review my life and shit. Ever since I saw an East Indian, I always used to say to myself, why is it, even up to today, why is it that out of everybody in this country, these East Indians seem to be able to get away with fucking anything? Like I was telling Tyron, I was watching that St. Valentine's Day Massacre movie from 1967, which claimed to be real to the information and only with the facts. It was pretty good. From what I was researching afterwards, it did seem like they did work out the facts. They said the dog was the only thing left living, and the dog was traumatized by the event that they had to put the dog down because the dog had psychological issues after that shit. That's how powerful that shit must have been. But and then they took and killed the mechanic and shit. He was just working on a fucking car, but he couldn't really protest because they were disguised as police. So that was savage. But see, they let them do all that kind of shit. East Indians run a lot of businesses. I told you this before, and that's why nobody was talking about this shit until I brought it out, because this is shit that they don't think about. This is shit that's not on their agendas. This is shit that I look into. But see, they listen to me, take the information, and I told you about tech companies, all that. These motherfuckers aren't into that because you don't hear them talking about computers. You don't hear them talking about technology, nothing. So that's how it's about me. This guy come back now. He's like, this motherfucker's still here. That's how I put the shit out and they got the shit for me. And of course, as usual, they don't tell you the details. But Indians can run 7-Elevens. This is supposed to have been 30 minutes. As usual, it's going over time. Indians can run 7-Elevens, hotel chains, smoke shops now. What's the other shit? Other convenience stores. I see them now. They're getting in with the auto mechanic, auto repair shit. They're becoming attorneys now. They've already been doctors, other types of scientists and shit. Speaking of tech, that's another thing. They keep accusing China of spying and shit, but yet they keep giving them all these jobs in the tech and medical fields. Even Chinese business, Asian businesses can get disrupted, illegal and not. But the Indians, they just don't fuck with them. I'm like, what is it? Even in the UK. Now, I know out here, my UK theory, which is backed up by plain evidence that you see, where they're throwing in all their British subjects from the colonized world into the United States and having them come in here and infiltrate. Trump has an Indian cabinet, and he was running against an Indian woman who is not, she's barely an American. Kamala Harris. I'm like, it doesn't make sense that they will let these Indians run segments of this country when their country is just horrible. I mean, it's horrible. Filthy. Shit, in African countries ain't much better. The only reason why some African countries might be cleaner is because they got less people and less shit going on. But I did watch a video with that talked about Dar es Salaam as a Dar es Salaam promotional video. That looked alright, to my surprise. And then I saw another one with talking about Nairobi. The guy was going too far, laying it on thick, saying, "Oh, beautiful roads. You can see the beautiful sky." and all that kind of. I'm like, man, come on, everything ain't beautiful. Gotta stop. That's what Pan African in this say too. Oh man, like you see that Afro think tank. Everything he's saying, well, we did this first. This was happening. This is this. This person's African, all that kind of shit. We invented this. We invented that. Okay, but where the results at? Start answering those questions. Where are the results? Because it's like, God damn it, we invent everything, then somebody comes in and takes it away. So where are the results? Where are the benefits at? But when you look at Africa today, they can't invent. They don't seem to be able to invent much. It's crazy, but these people got to stop lying. You're being fooled. They got these coon agents out here helping to continue to fool you. Man, it's a goddamn shame. They're not going to stop. They only stay on as long as it. Like I said, when people are monetized, and not because they are monetized, but because they can get monetized. That's why I like to keep reiterating. I am not authorized. They will not allow me to be monetized. That's how you can tell who the fucking agent is. They're not manipulating the system better than somebody else. It's just that they're allowed to spread their propaganda and to get paid. That's part of the payment. And then, of course, you got donations, and you got behind the scenes stipends and shit, which you could tell people like Tariq Nasheed get. And that other dude, the African Network. You know, people like him. I always say to myself, man, how the fuck is a guy like him getting so many subs and shit? Because it doesn't make sense, because he's not charismatic. He looks stiff. He's a hypocrite. It doesn't matter. Again, I only heard about a lot of these people because other lower level YouTubers used to talk about them. And I see now they only talked about them because they were doing numbers. So they figured, let me talk about them and I'll get my shit up. That Phil guy, that's what I'm talking about. So, but again, this is what they do. This is why these people stay on the air. See, they don't like people like me coming in and sifting through the lies. And I can't stress enough that I don't necessarily listen to people with the intent of busting them on lies or anything like that. It's just that I listen to the topic, I hear what they're saying, and then once I start hearing some inconsistencies, and again, I'm not looking for the inconsistencies, I just happen to hear them. So then I start saying, that's not cool. Or I'll say, hey, man, I remember this person said this a few years ago. Now you're talking about that. In the case of Tariq Nasheed, when I was just talking about that Trini female he was talking about, hell, he said that a few minutes ago in the same goddamn video. He contradicted himself. This motherfucker, I guess he's like, oh man, this guy, yeah, I want to make sure he ain't going into my trunk. So this has been long, so I can understand him being a little suspicious, but so it is crazy in that way. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. So I'm not necessarily looking for anything in particular. It's just that these types of things just happen to take place. I hear the contradictions. I hear the lies. So then what I do is I feel the need to address the lies. I personally like to address the lies to the people themselves. But they're so fucking paranoid. They don't like people questioning them. Because they're going to forget their lies. But they're going to talk big like, oh, how dare you challenge me? That's why they keep using words like nigga all the time, because that's supposed to make them seem real. You know, that's why certain SETI does it, puts on his mean act, mean face. What you talking about, nigga? All that kind of shit. Again, I've been watching people like SETI from the beginning, because he's one of those people that I only saw when I first went on YouTube and when YouTube first started. That and that J Love guy. Tommy Sotomayor, I saw him later, but he's another paid agitator. That Fashion Fit, another paid agitator. You know, even without the evidence being out there, people should have known what that was, which people eventually found out what it was. So this is the way it is. And they want you to keep the racial divide going, even though there's still a racial divide. Reparations will fix that racial divide. Every time I see East Indians, they can be as black as they can be. And again, I always say to myself, how did they get a pass? I mean, is there some background shit where white people just say, leave them alone? Because, you know, I can go around certain areas just staring at me, or driving on the road, they almost get into a fucking car accident looking at me, and I'm like, it's a brief few second visualization on me. How do they know I'm not an East Indian? After 2 or 3 seconds. And how do you know an East Indian is not a black American after 2 or 3 seconds? But I told you one reason is the way they dress. They make sure not to wear any urban gear. No hats. They want to make sure that you, even though I did go to college with an East Indian guy that was wearing some urban gear. I told you about him. That was the guy that said his uncle owned a few gas stations. You know, they can't help but to brag after a while. But again, I always wonder how the white man just lets them slide and get away with everything. But we do the smallest thing, you can't do that. The mafia, the organized crime, they always let them slide. You never heard nothing about organized crime, Italian, Irish, Jewish organized crime getting involved in Indian legit businesses or Chinese legit businesses. You never heard about that. All this money they got, they didn't say, oh man, we gotta shake them down. No. It's crazy. Maybe that Black Everything site is correct when they say that white people are the albinos, mutant albinos of East Indians. Because they damn sure treat them as if they're their progeny and they must be respected. And again, that's what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing used to say before I even knew about that all black everything site. She used to say that shit. But you don't hear Tariq Nasheed saying that shit when his so-called mentor was the one that put that shit out there. You can find that shit on YouTube. You should be able to find it on YouTube or some other place. So, something about them. Again, there was I'm about to let it go, but there was YouTube videos. I think it was the Lithuanian language and the East Indian language. Watch the videos, man. They speak the same language, so that adds even more fuel to the mutant albino. I don't even want to call it a hypothesis either, because apparently it's coming out to be true. It's coming out to be true. Because why else would they respect them unless that was their people? And for all we know, the small hats could be getting these East Indians into place. Because white people always talk about, oh, the small hats are trying to kill us off. So maybe they're trying to put the Indians in their place while they take them out. Who knows? But there's no doubt that these small hats are part of these white people too. So anyway, I'm done. Damn, it's an hour and a half, and I got to do my shit. Not in the bathroom, but you know. So with that, I'm out.